Good evening, I'm Melissa Khan with your Friday, January 15th edition of News in Depth. First up, 3 men accused of killing the Henrys' cousins profess their innocence. More in this report.
3 men were today charged with the murder of the Henry cousins, Joel and Isaiah. The trio, Anil Sanchara of the Edward squatting area, Vinod Gopal, a laborer of North Blackbush Polder, and Akash Singh of Zealot squatting area. The men appeared before Magistrate Peter Yu in the Georgetown Magistrates Court, where the indictable charge of murder was read to them. The court was told that the trio between September 5th and 6th murdered the Henry cousins at Cotton Tree on the west coast of Berbice. Both Joel and Isaiah had their spines severed and had chop wounds about their bodies. Attorney at law Nigel Hughes, who's representing the Henry family in the matter in a telephone interview, said they have great reservations about the charges initiated by the police based on the confessions that were made.
We had expressed at the beginning our hope that the charges against anybody or the persons who are responsible for the death of the young Henry would not be based only on a confession statement. From the information we have received as to the content of the confession statement and the reason for the killing, we have significant reservations. Just for an example, in one of the alleged confessions, the young men claimed that the Henry boys had sprayed some field of marijuana, cannabis, with gramazone, and that is not supported by any physical evidence. Independent of that confession, as you are aware, members of the joint forces, quite a few of them, I think 70 plus, combed the entire area of the Baghdad, and they did not come across a single field of marijuana that had been destroyed as a result of gramazone or the application of any other chemical. In addition to which, the police said that they conducted aerial surveys both by way of helicopters and by way of drones, and none of those surveys, as far as we are aware, from their public statements, disclosed the destruction of any marijuana field as a result of chemicals, gramazone, or any other chemical. So it would seem as if these confessions may not be supported by independent evidence in relation to their content, and consequently, we have significant reservations about the efficacy of these charges and whether these were instituted merely to address the public outcry about the length of time that had been taken to solve these crimes. We note that there is an absence of, or there is an apparent absence of any scientific evidence to support any of the contents of any of the alleged confessions obtained by these young men.
Meanwhile, 2 of the suspects professed their innocence to members of the media while making their way to the court, and after the murder charges were instituted against them.
No, me know nothing but I'm innocent. Yeah, go the Edwards and find out about me. Me know nothing but the Edwards charge. So much of marijuana that gets me mad. So much of marijuana. Me live my life. And this brother calling me name innocently. Now you. Knock me. I innocently, brother calling me name. What's your name, boy? What's your name? You don't go Paul. I never pass Barbies Bridge. Honestly to God, go find out the Black Bush. This brother called me name wrongfully because he know my name.
The trio were remanded to prison and will make their next court appearance at the Blaymont Magistrates Court. The killing of the Henry cousins sparked protests across several parts of the country as calls were mounted for justice. Just recently, family members of the Henrys protested outside of the CID headquarters, calling for justice for the 2 teenagers.
Shh. It's your new secret. The all-in-one weapon for perfecting imperfections and capturing flawless skin. A lot of brands forget women of color or just don't understand that we come in all shades. From caramel to ebony, there's such a range. Iman Cosmetics is for every woman and features a line of skincare products and cosmetics including 16 foundation shades, powder, concealer, lipstick, blush, eyeshadow, highlighter, and BB cream. Visit us at Lot 75, Swamp Section, Rosal Town. That's behind the market. Or call 337-4422 or 688-9249. Shh.
Family violence is violence directed at another family member. It can be physical, verbal, sexual, and more. Family violence leads to despair, destruction, and death.
It can happen to both men and especially women from any background. Children are especially vulnerable. And the stress and isolation due to the COVID-19 pandemic can increase family violence. Family violence is illegal in Guyana. If you or someone you know is experiencing gender-based violence, family-based violence, or sexual harassment, contact the Women and Gender Equality Commission at 231-5276 or 231-5298.
Or put an anonymous note in the post office boxes at the Guyana Human Rights Commission Building, the Guyana Post Office Corporation, the National Library, the Georgetown Public Hospital, and the University of Guyana.
Caribbean rice, from the lush rice fields of Guyana, straight to your home. Caribbean rice, our people, our rice.
Welcome back. Woman perished in Diamond East Bank Demerara fire.
These were some of the emotional scenes as the remains of 26-year-old Christelle Chung were removed from her parents' home at Diamond on the east bank of Demerara this morning. The woman perished in an early morning fire that rocked the community, leaving in its wake millions of dollars in losses. There are reports that 5 persons were in the house at the time of the fire. A neighbor who raised the alarm said the fire appeared to have started in the woman's bedroom. He said residents tried desperately to assist, but the fire was out of control.
About 5:45. See the whole place there and the fire there. We run to share assistance, but the fire was too much there, couldn't get for do nothing. Fire went too much. The fire like it started from she room. And we got to the assistance, but nothing couldn't be done. Well, them man come quick, them man do them job what they could do, but the house in flame too quick. Them man do them best. Them fireman try them best. They couldn't do nothing more. There's very good neighbors, you know. There's very good people. There's no trouble people or nothing, buddy. Very good people. And I'm sorry whatever happened there.
You know the young lady?
Yes.
Talk to me about her.
She is a very good girl coming up. Never see she no problem, no worry so far. Well, that was it. Everybody try for break open, try for do what they do, but the fire start direct by she room there. The blaze too much, couldn't do nothing there.
Family members were shaken by the tragedy and refused to speak to members of the media at the time. Chung worked at Massey as a sales and marketing specialist in the automotive company's department, and her workmates who turned up at the scene were left in shock at her tragic passing. One of the company's directors said Christelle was a jovial and outgoing person who was always willing to help others. He said it is indeed a sad moment for the staff at Massey. The origin of the fire is still to be determined by the Guyana Fire Service. The police investigations into the matter are ongoing.
And that has brought us to the end of our news for tonight. For these and other stories, visit our website at rdproductiongy.com or our Facebook and Instagram page at Royce and Drake's Production. On behalf of our news team, thank you for joining us and do have a safe weekend. Good night.